chat.
Oh, it just, yes, Kelsey, it just said recording in progress. So we'll see where it goes. Yes, who said that? Love you.
Me. I was just going to say, I'm waiting on my It Works check for new wireless headphones because mine, I used them too much. They're dead.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I was so ready.
Yay. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to set the stage about what I want you to do as you listen. So we're going to have 4 to 5, and I'll share mine, wonderful ladies at the top of the company sharing their quick 2-minute story. So what I want you to listen for is these ladies are going to tell you where they were when they started. They're going to tell you how they joined. So were they asked? Did they see a post? Did they jump right in? Were they skeptical? They're going to tell you how they got involved. And then they're going to tell you where they're at now. And why stories are important is because before we even start the Zoom, I want you to create vision. I want you to know where you're going. And I want you to find someone who is where you are right now. We have young people, old people, Black people, white people, low socioeconomic people, people who weren't struggling at all, but just wanted friendship. We have someone from every walk of life. So there is not a story that is not already out there and has not already made it. And so what I like about stories is what show you can do it. Stories is what keep you pressing forward. Stories is how you know you can do it too. So I want you to listen to these stories, and I want to realize that these are very normal people. They just now make a lot of money because they put in the work, they showed up every day, and they never gave up. But in the beginning, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 7 years ago, they were sitting exactly where you are. They had a decision. They had a decision whether to keep going, to keep fighting, or to use their excuses and give up. And the only reason they made it is because they kept going, because they didn't use their excuses, because they kept moving forward. And I want you to hear that from their story. They were where you are. They stayed in the journey, and now they are where you want to go. So see if you can relate, see if there's something in your story that you share. And if you do, share it in the comments as well. We will start with Miss Erin Tweed. I think you can unmute yourself, but give us your quick 2-minute story about where you were before It Works, how you found it, and where you are now.
Hello, everyone. Today's hair washing day, so you guys don't judge. I'm just like, I'm getting on with it. It's like half wet and trying to be good about not blow drying, but I am so excited for this. So I am coming up on Sunday, or whatever day turns the 31st, is going to be 7 years in the business for me. And so I got started, the hair washing day has to be timed right? But I got started because I was a nurse navigator working full time, and I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. So I was more on the administration side. So I wasn't doing your typical 312s or anything like that in the hospital. So I was working lots of hours and getting to work at 6 a.m. because my patients were rolling into the OR at that time. And so it was just, I loved my job and I loved patient education. I loved doing all those things, but I hated missing moments with my family. And I hated constantly feeling like, oh my God, I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week and I don't have a way to actually make more money. Like if you're in the medical field or anything like that, it's very hard to get like a pay raise. Most of the time it's very minimal. Even if you do the clinical ladder and you get your master's, that doesn't mean that you get extra pay. And so I was in this position of, okay, I keep seeing posts about hair, skin, and nails, and I wanted to try the products, but I had never tried anything before I got started. But I kept seeing this girl post results. And so when I finally talked to Alyssa about the opportunity, she was like, have you thought about making money using the products? And I just jumped in. I had never had any sales experience. I didn't know what I was doing. But I always just say that I kind of just like blacked out and just went for it because I knew what the alternative was and I didn't want to keep living that life. And so I just did everything that I was going to take. Like I posted on social media. I, went and did Blitz cards, and I went and talked to people, and I had people at my house for parties that I was uncomfortable doing, but it was because I was willing to make that change. And so here we are 7 years later. I've been at home for, it'll be 6 years in September, which is crazy. I've also been doing this longer than I was actually working full-time as a nurse, which is absolutely insane now to think back to that. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it. Just having the freedom to do the different things. And so because of this business, we were able to expand our family via IVF. When we went through some unexplained infertility and miscarriages, then God had a sense of humor when my middle daughter was 7 months old and I got pregnant on my own. And so my little man, my two youngest I have a 7-year-old, who's going into 2nd grade. And then Ellie is 3 and Forrest is 2. So they're 15 and a half months apart. So life is busy. Okay. Life is crazy and hectic. And he was also born with a cleft lip and cleft palate. So the first year of his life was surgery and doctor's appointments and all kinds of things. And so I just want to say to you, if you've been making I don't have time, or I've got kids and they're too busy, I promise you, if I can do this, you can do this. And so that's exactly why I hopped on a Zoom with wet hair, because I knew that I wanted to show up for it. I knew that I wanted to be here doing that. And so, take that time. Now is the perfect time, especially going into some kids. Maybe you got thrown off with summer. That's okay. It's been an adjustment for having kids for home for so long. And then we actually got to send them back to school, and then now they're home again. And so it's an adjustment. So, now is the perfect time to really get your game plan ready for that second half of the year. Figure out what you want to do, because everything that you're doing now is just preparing you for the beginning of next year. And so don't wait until January 1st to make that New Year's resolution. Don't wait until the beginning of the year to decide, oh, I want it to be next year. Everybody says, oh, I'm going to start that on Monday. Make today be your day that you just commit and do it, and it'll be the biggest blessing. So I know that might be a little bit longer. Sorry.
Girl, we're here for all the things. We just show up and take it all in. I absolutely love it. And we are going to talk about drawing a line in the sand today, right now. But what I want to point out from Erin's story is 7 years. So some of you guys show up for 7 days and you're like, it doesn't work. 7 years, not days, not months, not weeks, years. And she showed up for 7 years, and now she sees success. Now she's, top 10 in the Millionaires Club and doing all of the things, but it took showing up in the beginning and able to get here, but she had long-term vision. So she's been in the business for 7 years. And when she started, she was a nurse. So she had a regular career. You don't have to be a stay-at-home mom. She worked 50 to 60 hours a week. So maybe you're not a nurse, but maybe you have a full-time corporate job and you're working 50 to 60 hours a week. That was how she started. So you need to find bits and pieces of these people's story and say, that's me. And if she can do it, so can I. Because when I look at someone, I don't play the comparison game. When I look at someone and they're being successful, what I say to myself is, if they can, so can I. If they did, so can I. If they are, so will I. So I look at someone and I find bits and pieces of their story. She might be a stay-at-home mom now, but you guys, she's a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. Like alone, that's more than I do at my job, right? So yeah, she's a stay-at-home mom now, but she has 3 kids and she's a stay-at-home mom. But when she started, it's like her whole life has grown up in the business as well. So when she started, she was a full-time nurse with 50 to 60 hours a week. And I promise you, all she did was continue to show up. All she did was put the excuses aside. All she did is when people quit, she kept going. When people said no, she kept going. When people said you won't be anything, she kept going. And the part that stuck out the most to me is she joined because of a product post. So make sure that you're doing your things every single day. So she joined because of a product post, but Alyssa Marie didn't just sign her up as a hair, skin, and nails customer. She asked her to join the business. And so that's a big takeaway for me, because I cling on to those loyal customers. And so I want to make sure that when I'm offering price, I'm saying, you can buy the hair, skin, and nails for $39, but for $10 more, if you have coupons, which you should get, or for $40 more, you could buy the hair, skin, and nails and get a business, right? And then you can use the hair, skin, and nails, share them with your following, and then get your hair, skin, and nails for free next month. And so make sure that you're using every opportunity to get distributors along the way, because loyal customers is addition, but distributors is multiplication. And I have learned that the hard way. You will grow, but it almost feels like if you're trying to go through the ranks, it almost feels like at times you're stuck in mud if you're only enrolling loyal customers, because you're always just chasing these canceled auto ships, new auto ships. But when you start to grow your team and when you start to add distributors, that's when you really will notice a growth in your business. So before you sign them up as a loyal, just ask. The worst they can say is no, but the best they can say is you get an Erin tweet that says yes. And then, and then hello, Erin tweet. And then the last thing is that when she started the business, she didn't even know that she needed the business for infertility. She didn't even know that she needed the business because her third child was going to have cleft lip. She didn't even know that she was going to need to be home with her kids during those journeys, because how many doctors and how many appointments and how much money that, like, I remember some of her story, some of it wasn't even covered in insurance. Can you imagine having to go for the lower income surgeon? You couldn't give your kid the best because you couldn't afford it. That doesn't seem fair, but that's on the healthcare system. But because she had the money, she could afford to go to the best surgeon. She didn't even know she needed that. So you trusted God's plan to jump in. Now trust God's plan to finish it through, because you don't even know what's coming in the next 2 years. You don't even know what's coming in the next 5 years. So something is coming where you need this business. That's why you're here. So just keep going. I absolutely love it, Erin. If you find some ahas or you connect to her story at all, drop it in the comments. Let's do Taylor Kaufmann. Tell us a little bit about yourself, boo.
Hi, friends. Can you hear me okay? Sometimes my service is so wonky. Okay, so if I cut out, just stop me. Hi, you guys. My name's Taylor Kaufmann. I got started with this business 6 years ago. I just celebrated my 6-year anniversary July 10th. So just had another year in the business. It's been so incredible. But just so you guys know, like whenever I started this, I was working 2 waitressing jobs. I was in the last 2 semesters of nursing school. So my life was really chaotic. It was really busy. I actually had just moved to Florida for the summer just to hang out and party and work bunches of jobs and try to collect as much money as I could before my last couple semesters of school. And so I was in a new city. I was, literally working my butt off, and I had terrible spending habits, and I was draining my savings account, and I was putting everything on credit cards. I was kind of living like crazy when I moved down there. And so I had a lot of debt. Not to mention I had $30,000 in student loan debt, and I had to pay for it all by myself. So when I found this business, a girl messaged me on Facebook. I had not talked to her since 6th grade, and I joined on a whim. I was spending money recklessly anyways, and I was partying, and I was putting everything on cards. And so I put this $99 starter kit on a credit card and didn't even think twice about it. I just knew that I was already in a hole. I felt like I was such deep in a hole of debt that it didn't matter what I did, because I felt like I was never climbing out of it. I don't know if there's anyone on here that just feels like you're stuck in this debt and you just don't know how it's ever going to go away. Will it ever go away? With interest rates, even if you're paying the bare minimum, you're never going to pay it off. It's just not happening. And so I put it on a credit card and I just started. I didn't even research the company. I just said, yep, take my money. If I can make money and do it on social media, sure, sign me up, whatever. I'll just figure it out. And so I really didn't have a huge vision for this business. I didn't really even think it would be profitable. I just wanted to make enough money to pay my monthly minimums on my credit cards, or a little bit extra, to eventually hopefully be able to get out of debt. And my vision really was okay, if I can do this even when I'm a nurse, right? Because I was going to graduate nursing school. If I can do and have this extra side income coming in as a nurse, I can pay off my credit cards twice as fast, because I'll be paying all my bills with my nursing income and pay all my debt with this income. So that was my goal, right? Well, when I graduated college, you have to take this awful nursing test. I don't know if there's any nurses on here, but it's called the NCLEX. It's literally hell. It's all the answers are correct, but what's the most correct answer? Wrong. And so I failed the test 3 times or twice. Yeah. So I failed. And so I wasn't even actually able to go be a nurse when I graduated. And this was all I had. And so I just felt God had put this in my line of vision before I knew I needed it. And some of you might be on here not even really thinking you need it, but then life is going to hit you, or someone's going to lose their job, or COVID's going to happen and your income cuts in half and you actually do need this income. That was me. I didn't think I'd ever actually need it, because I thought I was going to be a rich nurse, which those don't exist. Okay. I'm a retired nurse now and I do this full time, but that's a little bit of my story. Nursing's for the birds. I had an awful, literally, I probably started on the worst floor of ever. I was making $22.60 an hour. I was working 14-hour shifts, hated my life, literally hated my life. I hated walking into every single shift. I felt drained. I felt unfulfilled. And when this income matched my whole year's salary as a nurse, I said, peace, I'm not coming back here. I got my tax return. I said, that's what I made in a year. that's what I made in a month here. So it is time to bounce. And so I just never looked back. And that's a little bit about my story. Sorry, that was really long.
No. So tell us what the business has done for you now. So 6 years later, what have you been able to do because of It Works?
Well, we just moved across the country, got our first house, which was really awesome. Totally 100% funded because of this business. Okay. My husband has not clocked into a 9-to-5 job for 2 years. And so all of the money that we put down on our house was from this income. All of our savings account has been from this income. So that's been really huge. We've paid off lots of credit card debt, student loan debt. We've been able to get, our dream vehicles because of this business. We've given back, travel, all the good stuff. But I think more than anything, I've just found purpose. I've found a home. This is a second family for me. It's restored my faith. I was a totally broken person when this business found me. And it's just given me so much more than monetary, value. Like I've just found my purpose. I love to create. And that has this business has brought out a lot of other talents and skills that I have that I didn't know that I had, because I just simply have been growing in this business for 6 years and growing as a person.
Wow. I love that. So here we go with Taylor, also a nurse. How funny. I mean, and then Tracy's going to speak too. She was a nurse and I'm a nurse as well. And I saw some people in the comments saying that they're going into nursing. Nursing is an amazing profession. So we're not saying don't go into nursing, but we are saying that every story is different. And in Taylor's story, she had a terrible experience with nursing. When I share mine and Tracy, I love nursing and I still am a full-time nurse. But again, you will not make $1 million with nursing. You will not make $150,000 a month with nursing. And you only get money the more you spend away from your family. So that is what we're saying. So 6 years. So we go back to 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, no, 6 years. 6 years of dedication, 6 years of saying yes, 6 years of showing up. But you can't get what she got in 6 years at your corporate job. You can't. I'm sorry. And you can only if you spend your time away from your family. So you can do it as a GM at a business, or you can do it as a CEO at a company, but you're going to be working 60 to 80 hours a week. You're going to be working weekends and holidays and all of those things. And they're doing this at home with their family. And I know for most women, that's what we want. We want to be able to make an income and an impact without the cost of our family, without going on vacation, without missing out. So that's what she's been able to do in 6 years, but not 6 days. She had the long-term vision. She kept showing up and look, she made it. She made it because she simply didn't quit. She made it because she simply didn't quit. And what I hear from her story is God was funny and he had other plans. She went to nursing school. She thought she was going to be this nurse, but the reason that she put her all into this is because he said, look, you failed the nursing exam. So what are you going to do now? So she went all in with what God placed in her lap. So I say to you, just be faithful with your journey. If God put you here, there is a reason for you to be here. So try not quitting on yourself. Try not giving up on yourself. Try just showing up every day and see what happens. And not in 1 week, not in 1 month. Try seeing what happens in 5 years. Because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? It's exactly where you are right now. So what do you really have to lose? An hour a day on social media? You're going to do that anyway. So why not show up from 5 years? Because I heard Aaron say 7 and Taylor say 6, and I'm going to be where they're at. So why not show up for 5 more years and see what happens? Maybe I become a millionaire in the meantime, right? Okay, I'll take it. So she said that she was messaged. So Aaron went from a product post. Taylor was messaged. You have to get a point in your business where you are more afraid not to message than to message. I am more afraid not to message. I am more afraid not to ask. I am more afraid to miss an Aaron Tweed or a Taylor Kaufmann than I am for a miserable person that is just nasty and needs to be blocked anyway. She was messaged and now she's a presidential diamond. Okay. Do you want a presidential diamond on your team? Do you want an ambassador like Aaron Tweed on your team? Put up the post, ask them to join your team and send the messages. Let's go to Kelsey. Tell us, girl.
Hi. How are you? So, gosh, I don't even know where to start. So I think it's 6 years. 6 years ago, I got started, honestly, just because I wanted $500. And I felt like I was living the American dream, but the American dream wasn't the dream that I thought it was. right? And I thought like, I went to school, I got my degrees. I felt like, okay, like I'm good. I'm about to go in this world and crush it. I'm about to make some hella money. And I quickly realized that what I thought was hella money actually was not hella money. It was cost of living. And then that was it. Like, girl, I couldn't even get my hair and my nails done. And I was like, it's not even, how is that asking too much? Just to get my hair and my nails done. I don't understand. I work really hard. And so when I saw this opportunity, I'd seen multiple opportunities before, but until you hit your point of what the hell am I doing with my life? Until you have that moment, you won't really be looking for opportunities, right? You'll think you're Gucci. You'll think you're good. You'll think I'm good. But I was good. I just knew there had to be something more. And I felt like this is not all that God called me to. And somebody told me something that's always stuck with me. People in your life or things that happen, situations that you're in are number one, either an example or a warning. Okay. And I felt like the people that I was working with at the time, I was a mortgage officer. So I was working at a bank, and I saw these like 65, 70-year-old women counting down the days to retirement. And I was like, that can't be me. No, Jesus, no. And that was like part of my breaking point. But it's what is your rock bottom? What is going to force you to move? Maybe you had something that happened and you're like, okay, I need this business, but how bad does it have to get before you just decide to go all in? Right. And for me, it's all relative, but I was like, I want to do something else, because this life, I'm cool with it now. But if nothing changed in 5 years, I wasn't going to be happy being where I was. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, if you tell me to go left and go right and go left, then I'll do that. If you told me to, but I just didn't see a way out. And so what I viewed this business as is as an alternative. I didn't actually, when I came into this business, I didn't know that it was going to be option A, because at the time it was option B, because I had a job, I had a career, and I wasn't mentally able at that point to wrap my head around doing this full time. I didn't even think of this as an option. I didn't even know that people did this as a full-time thing. So for me, I hopped in, not knowing anything about anything. I saw Erin posting. She was tagging her husband. I was friends with her husband through college. And I was like, what is this girl doing? And I kept seeing it. And I remember asking my husband, like, who lives in these houses? Like, as we were driving by this really nice area. And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, what are we doing wrong? Have you ever felt like that? You're like, these people have like a secret to life that like I missed out on. Like, I missed that class. I missed that lesson in life, because these people have a house that feels so far away. These people, and it's not even that it felt so far away, because I wasn't even looking to get it at that time. But what I was looking for is, where is the road to get to that house eventually? Right? Where is the road to get to that house eventually? I didn't need it right there. And maybe you're sitting and you're like, I'm cool with where I'm at. Great. But let me ask you this. If you woke up and it was 5 years from now, would you be still happy with where you're at? And I'm going to tell you the answer for every single one of us on here, no matter what our income is, no matter what happened, the answer is no. Because your external is not what makes you happy. What makes you happy is progress. Knowing that you're progressing in marriage and parenting and life and income and whatever it is, progress equals happiness. And so if you feel like I'm making progress, I'm becoming a better person, I have a road where I'm going, that's what this business provided me, right? And as soon as I saw this opportunity, I was nervous. And at first I literally thought, holy crap, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. I am so unqualified. I've never done a business like this. I didn't major in marketing. Like, I didn't know anything about anything, but what I did know was I could learn anything. And so can you. And I always tell people will always say, you know, you'll hear people say like, figure out your why, right? Like figure out your why. And that's very important. But more important than that is figure out your what. What do you want? What do you want? Most people don't actually get what they want because they don't know what the hell they want. Most people actually know why they want it. They're like, well, if they really think about it, that question is easier to answer. But if I said, hey, tell me 5 things you want, you wouldn't be able to tell me. But start with what you don't want. Okay, you don't like your life. Cool. Tell me what you don't like about it. Do you not like the hours you have to work? Do you not like the people you have to be around? Do you not like the fact that you struggle each month with money? What don't you like? And then what's the opposite of that? And go figure out how you can get it. This business will be a resource for whatever you need it to be. You don't have to want to retire. I didn't want to retire from my job when I started this. That wasn't necessarily something that I thought would be playing in the cards for me. But I grew, I progressed, I saw what was possible. And that's all we're doing. We're not sitting on here being like, oh my gosh, we know all these secrets to this business. And here's what you should post. And here's what you should message. And here, what we did was whatever the hell we had to do to make it work. Because what worked 5 years ago, 6 years ago, doesn't work now. And so all you have to do is just figure out, copy the right cat, find somebody. I remember when Erin can attest to this, because one time I copied and pasted a post that she made, and she was like, hey girl, I totally don't mind if you copy and paste my post, but make sure you change your phone number. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. So like all the people were probably texting her, not that I actually get text messages from those posts anyways, but just understanding like, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. All you have to do is just realize like, that's part of it. That's part of the process, right? Like, just like when you walk, when you're learning to walk, when you're a baby, the baby stumbles, but they just get back up and they figure it out. Cause that's, even in the stumble, they get stronger. And the same thing will happen with you. Even when you're struggling, you're getting stronger. It's just your muscles getting sore because you haven't exercised that in a while. So anyways, long story short, I know I'm like ranting, but so I joined the business. I hopped in, didn't know anything about anything. Erin was just like, okay, this is what you're going to do. And I was like, okay, cool. And I just followed what she said. And I put the time in, and that was that. And I went diamond in 4 months. I earned a $10,000 bonus. And then about 9 months later, I was tripling what I was making at the bank, and I retired from my banking job. And then we went long. We hit double diamond, triple diamond. Me and my husband hit triple diamond at the same time. We earned $100,000 in bonuses at that point. So over the last 6 years, we have earned $212,000 in bonuses. And I've been doing this full time for over 5 years. And it's literally changed me. The change in my income is a result of me changing. Okay. It's not that I got all this money and I changed. No, I became better and my income became better. Right. And this business is so forgiving. It's so full of grace. I promise. You think you're too far gone. You think I haven't posted in a long time, or I don't know where to start. Guess what? We all go through those seasons. And we're still here. We're still showing up. Life happens for everybody. And nobody's saying it's not hard. We're just saying you can still do this while it's hard. Right? So there you go.
We all love Kelsey so much. She's like our team whisperer and has so much knowledge. And here's what I want to tell you about Kelsey. She didn't start as the Kelsey you know now. She developed into the Kelsey you know now because she showed up and she did self-development. And this is something that you can learn now. So you don't have to have $5,000, $10,000. You don't have to have the money. You say, I don't have a story. Why don't you start changing your mind? Why don't you start changing your walk with God? Why don't you start showing up to self-development Zooms? Why don't you start changing the person you are? And that can be your story. Because screw the money. The person that we have all became along the journey is the biggest win every day. I wake up so happy. I wake up with so much purpose. I wake up with so much fulfillment. And when I joined, I didn't have that. And I don't know Kelsey before the business, but I can assume, I mean, I'm sure she's always been big in her faith, but the knowledge that she has gained from reading the Bible. She has gained from reading books. She has gained from talking to other leaders. She has gained from upping her circle. And all of that came from the business, because I would like to say that if Kelsey wouldn't have joined the business, she would be in her office with her 70-year-old coworkers who weren't talking like this and weren't dreaming like this and weren't being like this. They were counting the days to retirement. And let me just do this for you to give you a little shocker. Most people retire about 65. So why don't you drop how many years you have until retirement? I have 35 years, 35 years until I can retire if I do the corporate America thing. So tell me again, what do you really have to lose? Because if you're going to work for someone else for 35 years, but not show up for yourself for a year, what do you really have to lose? You're willing to go to work tired. Your kids were up all night, but you still show up for your job, but you don't show up for your business. You didn't get any sleep last night, but you still show up for your job, but you don't show up for your business. So you're more committed to your job than you are to your business. And in the beginning, you have to stay committed to your job. I still have a full-time job, but what I want you to do is change your mind. You only use the excuses for the things that you think you can stop. And right now, the business is up in the air. You can't quit your husband. You can't quit your kids. You can't quit your job. You can quit the business. So you feel like that's the first thing you have to cut out. That's the first thing you have to stop. Oh, I just can't do it. It's just too much. But what if you just decided to move the business into that category that you just didn't quit? Then you would be Aaron Tweed and Taylor Kaufmann and Kelsey Thornton in 7 years, in 6 years, in 6 years. You would be able to quit your job if you wanted or not. You could work PRN as a nurse if you love being a nurse. I love being an emergency room nurse. I had to quit because I needed to be home. But if I could be a millionaire, maybe I'd go back and work PRN as an ER nurse. Or you find passion in your new position. Because we all became nurses because we love to serve and we love to give and we love to help others. Guess what we're doing in this job? In this business, we're serving, we're giving back, we're helping others in a new way. God is using us globally. God is using us to change far more than we ever will in one hospital. And so you don't know what you're here for until you just keep going and the journey uncovers. So I love what Kelsey said about, and I relate to her story so much when she talks about hair and nail money. Because I never, and my nails aren't done right now, but I do get them done now because of the business. But I didn't buy makeup. Like I wear makeup, but it was always cheap stuff. I didn't get my hair done. I never colored my hair. I never got my nails done. I never went shopping because we weren't like Kelsey. We had a 2-story house. We had cars. We got to go on a vacation at least once a year. So it looked like we had it all together. But one, I was empty on the inside. And two, you never could get ahead. You always made it, but there was never more. So there was never a $10,000 savings account. There was never a $20,000 investment. There was never giving to our church more than we wanted. There was never adopting a child in Africa. There was never that little bit more. It was always right where you wanted, but you were never going to get ahead. You were never going to pay off debt. You were never going to, go on more than one vacation a year. And so I love that she says she joined for just $500 a month. She just wanted some money to spend on herself to make herself feel better. And maybe that's all you have right now. And you just keep showing up for you. She thought the American dream was going to college. And I thought this too. It was going. And then when I got it, I was like, what? I went to college. I got married. I had kids. I thought that was the American dream. Have a husband, have kids, and have a nice house. And I was sitting in all of that. But I still felt empty. And that's okay. It doesn't make you greedy. It means that God has a purpose for more for you. It means that there is more inside of you that you need to pour out into the world. It doesn't mean that you hate your husband or you hate your life or you hate your job. It means that you have a bigger purpose and you have a purpose to change lives, change the world, change your family tree. And this business can do that for you. And she tagged her husband, Aaron did, and that's how Kelsey found her. So there's another little side plug. If you have a husband, tag him, because all his little high school girls or college girls, maybe they'll see the post one day like Kelsey did and be able to join you. I love how much Kelsey has grown as a person and how much self-development she does. And the reason she's able to say all of those amazing things to you is because she has read them or heard them somewhere. And when you start to grow your mind, that stuff starts to pour out of your mouth. You stop being negative and you just start radiating positivity. You just start saying things like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you don't take the shot, you'll never make the score. Or, she starts talking about the baby who falls. That's all from learning and experience and growing and upping her circle. And you have to do that. And that's one thing we're going to talk about is the self-development. And so I love Kelsey's story. And we always love
Can I
hearing from
share
her.
two more things?
Yes.
Two more things you made me think of. Okay, one, I want you to drop a 2 if you feel like, okay, these stories are great, but like I still don't really believe like this could be me. Drop a 2. And it's okay. I want you to be honest. Like there's no judgment. Nobody's going to call you out. Nobody's going to shame you. Like, I just want you to be honest. If you're like, okay, but this still can't be me. Like, I don't really know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if like I can do what these people have done or retired, or that just feels so far away. Right. And I want to talk to you for a second, because the reality is you have to create another alternative for yourself. So if you don't feel like you can, I'm not saying, hey, just start believing you can all of a sudden. What I'm saying is just create enough room in your mind to say, but what if I could? Just that's it. That's it. You don't have to start believing that you can yet, but just start asking yourself, what if I could? Right? And I don't need you to believe it right now. I just need you to start there. That's where I started. I saw Aaron and I was like, great. Okay, this girl's made a $25,000 bonus. I'm just sitting over here. I just make $250 of that. I'm cool, right? And in the back of my head, there was always like, but what if I could? And that's what kept me going. And that's what will keep you here in the business, is knowing, but what if I could? Because where else can I do that? And the other thing I want to say is that somebody posted, can't pour from an empty cup. So true. But along the lines of what Amanda was saying is, whatever is in your cup will overflow. Okay. So yes, you can't pour from an empty cup, but if negativity is in your cup, because we all have some sort of a full cup, you just might not like what it's full with. Right. So let's say somebody, there was a thing that went around Facebook a long time ago, and I don't know why, I just remembered it, but it was like, if somebody's holding a cup of coffee and somebody knocks into them, the coffee is what spills out. Right. But if you have negativity in your cup and somebody knocks into you, the negativity is what spills out. Right. But if you have positivity, if you have self-development, if you have people in your circle who are cheering you on and somebody knocks into you, the positivity is what spills out. The love is what spills out. The grace is what spills out. The hope is what spills out. And so that's why even on our worst days, we still have hope. And it's not because we're just amazing people. Having faith is hard, bro. Having faith is a choice every single day. Every day. You have to make that choice and then remake it again, probably moments later when some other crap happens in your life, and then remake it. But recognizing that I'm still making that choice. And it's not easy, but it's just a choice. And just know what's the alternative, and keeping that little hole open of what if I could. And that's all I want to say. Now I'm going to stop.
I love it. We're going to move to our last person, but I want to tell you the one thing that kept me in this business, and I'm not a magical unicorn yet, like Kelsey and Taylor and Aaron, but guess what? But what if I could? That is literally the only reason I stayed in the business. I did everything wrong. You guys, I've been in business for 3 years and I'm maintaining diamond. I've highest ranked double diamond, but I've done everything wrong. I only enrolled customers for like 6 months to hit double diamond, never enrolled a distributor. Well, guess what? You fall. So I've done everything wrong. I've only posted and not messaged, but the only thing I did right was I kept showing up. I never ever quit. And I always wondered, I always held on to hope. But what if my entire life could look different? But what if I could quit my job? But what if we could be a full-time family? But what if a $15,000 check hit my account? But what if I could buy that vacation home? But what if, insert your whatever the craziest dream is you want? Maybe it's, but what if I could just freaking pay my bills? But what if I could just get an iPhone 12? Okay, insert whatever stupid thing or amazing thing or crazy thing is that you want. But what if you could do it? But what if? But I wish I could squeeze you. But what if? What if you actually freaking could? Now go get it because you can. Because Aaron is not magical. No offense, they are now, you know, but Aaron is not magical. Taylor is not magical. Kelsey is not magical. They freaking showed up and they freaking didn't stop and they failed their way to success. And the only way you can fail is if you quit. And the only way to succeed is to keep failing and getting up. And success is only one more time than you fail. And you never know when it's going to happen. So when you quit, just know your success was around the corner. And when you quit because insert excuse, just know someone at the top had that same damn excuse and they made it anyway. So let that excuse fuel you. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days, and we give grace and we love everyone and we're not magic either, but it means that you can't live in that misery. You can't live in that I'm too tired, I'm too busy, I'm this or that. You can't live there. Be there for a minute, be there for an hour, and then put your big girl pants and get on because there is more for you. There is more for your family. And you are the one hindering either making it or not making it. And all you got to do is show up. This is easy. So fix that mind. You're showing up for an hour or two on social media. If you Netflix, boo-boo, you got time. If you watch TV or listen to the radio, you got time. If you sleep more than 6 hours, you got time. If you work out, you got time. If you make dinner, you got time. Let us find when that time is, but I promise you, you got it because they found it. The last person we want to hear from, which I love her story, is Tracey. It just so happens she's a nurse too, but remember Kelsey was corporate America. So that was different, but we want to hear from Tracey. Tell us why you or where you were at in your life when you found It Works. And I know this business has been a surprise that you never knew was coming either because of your grandbabies, but where were you at when It Works found you? And then how did you join? Like, were you asked, were you messaged? And then tell us what It Works has done for you.
My story is going to be a lot different than everybody else's. I'm telling you right now.
That's what
First
we
off,
wanted.
I was 50 years old when I joined. I will have been in the business 3 years and 19 more days will be my 3-year anniversary that I talked to Megan Carter and I signed up. So, but where I was before I joined, I was a travel nurse. Been a travel nurse for 18 years. I was at the top of my pay. I made freaking kick-ass money. I flew all over the country. I had the best life. My husband worked oil field. He made good money. And we got our farm that I had begged and wanted, my dream farm. We got it. And the only way we could keep it was we just had to keep working extra hours. So I found myself getting more contracts further away from home and flying. And so that's where I was. I was a stressed out ER nurse that had an attitude. I didn't like people because when you work in the ER, you get enough of people for 12 hours. After that, you don't want to talk to people. So that's where my mindset was. I wasn't big on Facebook. I came across, I had a recipe group. Some girl shared this video in it of this girl who just goes, oh, she's talking about keto, whatever. And I'm like listening in because I'm like, I am so I'm getting overweight. I'm unhealthy. I'm a nurse. I need to be healthier. I'm old. This is it. My life is over. What has she got in her hand? And she goes, oh, this coffee book. And I'm like, rewind, trying to find out. So there's my first tip, guys. You never know who's going to see your lives, your videos, or whatever. Somebody else shared Megan Carter's video in my recipe group. I searched Facebook. I searched YouTube. I tried for 2 days trying to find out who this girl was. Finally got a hold of her because I couldn't see the brand of the coffee that she held up. She did it too fast. Otherwise, I would have Googled it and ordered it. But I finally got a hold of her. She talked to me. She sent me out samples. Hey, I got the samples, but I didn't want to wait. I wanted to order. I'm like, I want this coffee now. I got to be flying out tomorrow. I need this coffee like ASAP. And I was actually kind of rude to her. Megan's on her. She knows. I know she remembers it like it was yesterday. And so I ordered 4 bags of coffee, and because I wanted as much of it as I could get. That's the only reason I joined is Megan asked me. I never followed her. She never seen me. We knew each other from nowhere. I never even heard of this company before. And she said, hey, you ever think of being a distributor, maybe selling it? You could get 4 bags of coffee with your kit. This was 3 years ago. I'm like, hell no, I ain't got time for that. I don't like people. But the 4 coffee bags, yeah, I'll take that. Sure, I'll sign up. Don't ever ask me to sell it. Those are my exact words. So don't ever ask me to sell it. I'm too busy. and I'm just not going to do it. And but thank God, and here's your second lesson. Don't give up on your distributors when they join. They may not have been in the right place when they joined. So what happened after that? Megan sending me stuff, telling me, oh, post this, post that. I'm like, whatever. And then I message her, hey, are you answering those people? They're commenting on this post. She's like, oh, no, I'm like, oh, I got to work for this now. Oh, no, I am not doing this. So I kind of just put her on the back burner. I kind of ghosted her several times. I know there's distributors on here who've done that to me too, but you all are still here today with me. And here we are going presidential. So I did it too. I did that to Megan too. But a month in, I was drinking that coffee, and the doctors at work and my coworkers at work were like, man, you're just on top of your game lately. Like, you're so focused. I work night shift, so I was always tired. I didn't get much sleep. And they were like, you're looking healthier. You're on top of your game. This is what's going on. I'm like, dude, it's this coffee. This coffee, it's freaking amazing. I love this coffee. And they're like, you're losing weight even. I'm like, I know, I love this coffee. They're like, where do I get it? And I'm like, well, I am a distributor, I guess, but I can order it for you. So I just kind of got orders here and there. So my first month was very, very slow. I didn't jump right into the business. But then I really started to feel better. And then when people were telling me they could see a difference, that's when it kind of hit me. And that's when I was like, shit, I drop a one if you join this and thought, you're just not good enough. You have nothing to offer anybody. That's how I felt. Well, when I was like, I had to think to myself, I was like, damn it. I know there are other people out there that were locking themselves in their house. Like, when I got home from work, I didn't leave this house. I didn't want to go out and socialize. My marriage was on the rocks because I was so stressed and uncomfortable with myself. And I was starting to feel better, and I was just feeling better. And I'm like, I got to share this. I got to share this. I know my friends on Facebook are going to make fun of me. They're going to like whatever. But you know what? I really don't give a shit. Because if I can have one person not go through what I had gone through with the depression and feeling uncomfortable and not wanting to go out anymore, if I could just have one person, I really didn't care what the other 10 thought. And I've been that way ever since. 3 years in, I really don't care if people don't like it. There's a delete button. Once you get rid of other people's opinions. So that's when it kicked off. And then the clincher was, my daughter is getting ready to give birth to my first grandbaby. I worked 50 years. I worked all my life. I'm 50. Missed times with my daughter, missed her baseball games, missed her concerts, all of that. I missed it all by going to nursing school and working my ass off. And I swore I was going to be able to spend time with her. So I thought, I'm going to dump into this business a little bit more so I can take a couple months off and be with that grandbaby. My daughter got emergency. They were going to induce her as an emergency inducement. And I got the call, and I told my manager, I said, I got to leave. My daughter's going to she's having our grandbaby. Her words to me were, if you can find somebody to cover your shift, you're more than welcome to go. That was my rock bottom. And I looked at her and I said, you can take this job and shove it. This is the last time that anybody will take me away from my family ever again. And I walked off of that contract. Now, granted, I could have picked up another contract later, but I walked out at that point. I was like, I am done. I am done letting people tell me what I can do and when I can spend it with my family. We have this beautiful farm. We weren't even getting to enjoy it. I have this huge family. I wasn't getting to enjoy it. My granddaughter was born, and I can tell you to this day, I have not missed one memory, one day with her. Now we've got 2 grandbabies. We're on grandbaby number 2. So 8 months into this business, after that, I really jumped into this business, and it was winter time. This was in November. I went triple diamond, diamond in December, double diamond in January, triple in February. Now, I guarantee you, when Megan asked me out of the blue, 8 months ago and I was rude to her and told, don't ever ask me to sell it, did she expect that she'd have a triple diamond on her team 8 months later? Did I think I would be here 8 months later? Hell no. Hell no. I wasn't here for the money. But then when I got that check, that triple check, and it was triple the amount of my top dollar travel nursing monthly pay, my husband is the one who told me you're not going back to work. And God was answering my prayers before I even knew he was answering them. Because 3 years ago, I didn't know if I was still actively nursing, I wouldn't have a job right now after all last year with COVID, because I guarantee you, I would not have taken a travel contract and left my grandbabies or my family with all of that was going on and jeopardize my own health. I wouldn't have been able to choose that. I wouldn't have been able to choose that. And I would have been jobless. But God put me in this position 3 years ago and got me prepared. And I walked right through COVID. I walked right through all of this chaos. Didn't phase us a bit, not one bit. Never missed a beat. That was God, man. And I think back every day, what if I had said no? Oh my God, what if I told Megan to get lost? Where would I be today? That scares me. That makes me sick every time I think about it. So that's my story kind of in a nutshell. Sorry, I went a little longer, but.
No, I love it. This is so good, you guys. This is so good. Y'all have all been so amazing and each offered your own little bit of value. And what I want to say about Tracey is, one, her age, because I actually have a lot of older people on my team as well. And I say that with so much respect, because you have earned that age and done the things. But I feel like a lot of people count themselves out because they see a lot of younger college people that are successful. And that's just not the case. This business was designed for anyone who is willing to show up and put in the work. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't have qualifications. You don't have to have a certain degree or certain socioeconomic status or a certain race or a certain religion. You just have to show up and you just have to not quit. So I love that, Tracey, what you said about your age and it being different, and also that you didn't work it at first. And so I like to have the analogy with my team of a bus, and Ashley Mayfield did a really good Zoom sequence on like getting on, getting off, and staying on getting on the bus, letting them off the bus, and staying on the bus. But it basically talks about moving to the back door, moving to the front door of your bus. Like, stop being like, so many times we're at the back door, not letting anyone off our team, not letting anyone get off, like pouring into these people who are just going nowhere. And she's saying, leave the back door. People are going to get off. People are going to get off the bus. Let them get off the bus. If they're not working, let them get off the bus. Never disown them. Never cut the bridge. Never not be their friend. Always be there when they're ready to get back on the bus. But get in the front door. You have to be welcoming new people into your organization every single month. Why do you think the steps of success is 6 loyal customers and 3 distributors? It's because every month you need a new distributor, because out of those 3, maybe 1 works, if we're being realistic. And every month you need a new distributor in your organization. If you want momentum, get new blood. They're excited, they're eager, they're hungry, they're ready to run, they're going after goals. You need to be bringing new into your organization every single month. So Tracey was in the business, she was marinating, Megan was checking on her, Megan was telling her things, Megan was making her posts, but Megan wasn't only hanging on to Tracey, she was still enrolling new. And then before you know it, Tracey's a triple. And you know when people are ready to work because they start showing up. And when that person shows up, whoop, you better get on them. You better link arms with them. You better show up, because I'm telling you right now, I show up for every single person on my organization, but at the level they show up for me. So if you're ready to run, baby girl, we running. If you're ready to sprint, we're sprinting. But if you're walking, honey, I'll walk with you, but I'm not running while you walk. I'm walking next to you. So maybe I'm talking to you once a week, or heck, once a month. I give you 30 days of sprinting, no matter what your pace is. I sprint for you for 30 days. Even if you never message me back, even if you don't talk to me, even if you don't post. But after that, I match your pace. And that's what you have to be okay with. You have to remember that people are going to come into your business and people are going to leave your business. And that's just the way it is. And something that I heard from Kim Kane, and now we're going to get into a few tips. I know we only have like 3 minutes, so I'm going to make it super quick, but you do not want to miss this. Something I heard from Kim Kane that I really love is, it's this or something better. I'm literally saying it out loud now, Because this is what you do. When you're messaging, when you're posting, when that person says no, when that person is mean, when that distributor quits, when that customer wants to cancel her auto ship, I'm literally saying this out loud. It's this or something better. So if it's not this, if that distributor's quitting, there's something better. If that loyal customer says, not this Friday, next, there's something better. If that distributor says, I'm no longer interested in joining, it's this or something better. God already has your plan worked out. The victory has already been won. And that's like the biggest blessing that you can sit in. The victory has already been won. Your life is already designed. Your purpose is already made. Everything that you need to be your best is already inside of you. All you have to do is live. All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is get better. That is such a relief and such a thing off your shoulders that you can say. So when you're messaging, it's this or something better. When someone tells you no, it's this or something better. I am loving that right now. And another thing that Tracey said that I love is, or I think it was Kelsey, but someone says, what do I have to do? So when someone tells me, what do I do? My answer is whatever it takes. And that's where you need to be too. I am willing to do whatever it takes to get where I want to go, because I hear these stories of Aaron and Taylor. And let me tell you, I've been in the business for, 3.5 years. And I am not where these ladies are, right? But I'm thinking in 6 years, will I be there? In 7 years, will I be there? In 10 years, will I be there? And what I can tell you is that you go along the way and you make steps along the way. So what she talked about, what do you want or what do you not want? So I did not want to work a second job. So I joined the business because I was about to go back to the hospital. So I was an emergency room nurse as well. I was missing so many moments at home. My oldest was about to start kindergarten, and I knew that I wanted to take him to school, pick him up from school, freaking do his homework with him, put him to bed. Like, I wanted to do all the things, and you're not going to do it as a nurse. And people say, well, it's only 3 days a week. Well, I didn't want to miss 3. I didn't want to miss none. And so I became a school nurse. So I worked at the same school as my kid. Amazing. But I made like $40,000 less a year. So I was contemplating going back to the hospital because we just couldn't make ends meet anymore when the business found me. So I joined the business, but I didn't expect to get rich overnight. And I picked up a second job at the same time so that I could stay at the school. And I worked the business to eventually be able to quit the second job. And I did. And so now I work at the school and the business is my second job. So I still have a full-time job, but not because it pays the bills, because I have the business to help me with that. And the long-term vision is retiring. And now that I see that there's women, it's like the mile that nobody thought they could run until it ran. Now I see women who have full-time families at home. You guys, they've retired themselves and their husbands, like Aaron Tweed and Taylor Kaufmann. So what? My husband can be at home and help me with these babies? Okay. I might even have more babies if he can come home and help, right? So when you see someone that has something you want, that only means that you can have it too. So I want you to think about these stories, and I like to go read distributors' posts and see where they're at. So the whole point of this, of sharing people's stories and seeing the success, was to let you know that you are no different. There is nothing inside of them that is not inside of you or that cannot be developed. Because what you might not have yet is the grit. What you might not have yet is the consistency. What you might not have yet is the dedication. What you might have not yet or whatever is the vision. But that can be developed. But you got to start at start. And what we're doing today is we're drawing the line. We're drawing the line and we're committing. Because I don't care what the start date on your e-suite is. If you haven't showed up for your business every single day, then you haven't worked it. Because you can't start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, not till you get well past double, triple diamond, okay? But you can't be in the beginning of this business trying to create an income, trying to grow residual income, trying to get a team that actually shows up and start and stop. So if you have not started and continued every single day for 12 months, for 1 year, then we're drawing the line in the sand today and we're committing to be consistent for 1 year. Today, a line in the sand. Will you show up for yourself? You show up to your job, you show up for your kids, you show up for your husband, you show up for your coworkers. Will you show up for yourself? Will you not quit on yourself? Will it get hard? Yes. Will you be tired? Yes. But what's not? Quit the business and tell me if life is still not hard. Quit the business and tell me if you don't still have bad days. Quit the business and tell me if you're full of energy and get tons of sleep. You don't. Life is hard. It's not the business, it's life. The business can be your future. The business can be your dreams. The business can be what takes away all that stress and all that financial stress and all those dead ends. You can wake up and design a life that you never thought possible. You can literally live, and I'm not doing it. This hope and energy that you see is only because I believe it in the innermost being, because I don't have it yet, you guys. That's what's funny. You see me talking like this, guess what? I work full time. I don't have this. I don't have a lake house. I'm not debt free. I don't retire myself. I'm nowhere near that. That's like 5 years in the making. But guess what? I know that it can happen. And that excites me. The hope that there is a different future, that there is a different way, that I can do things different, that I can change my family tree. That's what inspires me. And the stories are how you know it's possible. So don't look at them and say, good for you. Look at them and say, if she can, so can I. You have to decide, you have to commit, and you have to get consistent. Draw the line in the sand. Decide today that you are going to show up to your business for a year, on the bad days, on the hard days, on the sick days. You guys, it's easy. And so the last thing I want to show is I want to remind you every day what you're doing. You're posting, you're adding, you're interacting, and you're messaging. And you have to do it every day. And so I need you to get a schedule. I need you to set some alarms. I need you, because most of you work and are busy, I need you to know when you are going to do the tasks for the day. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You have got to know, when are you posting? When are you adding? When are you interacting? When are you messaging? It takes 5 minutes to post. There is no excuse why you shouldn't have a post up, why your story shouldn't be full, because you have all the resources in the world. So a little bit of red's coming out, all the resources. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to post. That is how people know you are still in the business. That is how people know you have not fallen short. That is how people know you are still in this thing. That is how you might not get customers or distributors from your post. That's not why you post. You post so people know, hey, I'm still here. You post because they're watching. You post because they want it. They're just afraid. You post because that's how you turn on your open sign. Okay. And then that takes less than 5 minutes. When are you going to add? It takes 5 minutes. Set an alarm. When the alarm goes off, set a 5-minute timer and add every single day. No excuses. Then you interact 10 minutes, set an alarm. When it goes off, set a timer. 10 minutes, interact until your timer goes off. If you have to take a 10-minute restroom break, do it. If you have to sit in your car before you go inside, do it. If you have to, sit at 5 red lights to get 10 minutes, do it. Set a timer and interact for 10 minutes. And the last thing is message. 2 times a day, 15-minute timers. I'm messaging from my friends list. I'm setting a timer for 15 minutes and I am messaging, only messaging, not answering, not interacting, not talking to my team, not dealing with my kids, messaging. If you have to lock yourself in the bathroom, do it. Messaging for solid 15 minutes, post to post asks. My first priority is getting up my host to post, because from my host to post, I can ask you to join my business. My second priority is sending DT asks. That is my top 2 priorities. And I can add and I can interact and I can post in less than 15 minutes a day. But my number 1 income producing activity is getting up my host to post, sending out messages and asking people to join my team. Because asking people to join your team is how you create success. It is how you create momentum. You can enroll 6 customers every single month. And yes, you'll get a check. But if you want to grow through the ranks, you have to do the second part of the steps to success. You've got to enroll 3 distributors, never below 1 ever, because you can have bad months, but you have got to enroll distributors every single month. Get a system, get organized, whatever that looks like. You don't have to be super green. Maybe it looks like every 2 days scrolling through your messenger 2 days from now and following up. But you gotta have a system of how you're going to follow up, and you've got to follow up. Last thing, I'm leaving you with sound bites and then we're going to be done. So you have to make time. You have to make time. Time is not going to fall from the sky, but we all get 24 hours in a day. And I promise you, why don't you track a day? How much time are you wasting? Because like I just said, what did I say? I said 5 minutes to add. You're telling me you don't got 5 minutes. 10 minutes to interact. You're telling me you don't got 10 minutes. 15 minutes to message. You're telling me you don't have 15 minutes? Because I promise if you work, why don't you turn your car on and set that 15-minute timer and message before you even pull out of the parking lot? I promise you'll feel better about walking into your house when your task is already done. You're like, oh, I don't want to waste time with my babies. It's 15 minutes. You're wasting time by trying to double dip and play with your babies and message. That's wasting time. Find the time and get it done. Last thing that I love that Sherry Lynn Alcala says is some will, some won't. Who cares? Who's next? Okay, some will, some won't. Who cares? Who's next? Go freaking get it. Draw the line in the sand, show up for yourself for 12 months and see where life takes you. It's not, can you do it? You can. It's not, can you do it? You can. It's, will you do it? It's not, can you? It's, will you? Will you show up? Will you show up every day? Will you add? Will you interact? Will you message? Or will you make excuses? And the excuses can be valid. They can be very valid. But like, I forget what person says it, give yourself 24 hours. You have a bad day, you don't hit a rank, your best diamond quits. Give yourself 24 hours to celebrate or give yourself 24 hours to retire. But then after that 12 hours, it's now an excuse. Because how long are you going to stay in that pity party? You have a 35-year-old man that is homeless and he's still blaming his parents. Well, I'm sorry, boo-boo. Maybe you grew up in a bad home, but at 35 years old, you can no longer blame your parents. There is a point where your excuses can no longer be excuses because you got to get up and do it anyway. You got to have such a strong mindset, which is why self-development is so important. You got to know, you know what? I'm in this struggle because God made me strong. I'm in this struggle because I'm supposed to be here. I'm in this struggle because guess what? Somewhere on your team is going to be someone in the same struggle as you, and she needs to know that you've moved mountains. She needs to know that you did it despite that. She needs to know that you had death, you had loss, you had people quit, you had all of these excuses, but you did it anyway. She needs to know that. So don't sit in the excuse. Don't sit in the pity. Get up and do it anyway. Have the long-term vision. We're drawing the line in the sand today. These women only made it because they didn't quit. They have had people quit. They have had bad days. They have lost rank. They have done all of the things. If you are experiencing it, trust me, somewhere along the sideline, someone has experienced it too. The team is one team, one mission. Reach out, ask for help, keep going, show up on Zooms, fuel your own fire, and just keep showing up. What we do is simple. Remind yourself of that every day. Don't let the devil say, I don't have time. This is too hard. I'm working from my phone and I'm only making $50. Baby, you posted and you made 50 bucks. Okay? Quit being so hard on yourself. You spent an hour on social media and you made $100. Why don't you celebrate and then watch God bless you? Why don't you stop complaining and maybe you'll get more? Why don't you start showing up more and maybe you'll be trusted with more? Why don't you start showing up for the one that you have and then maybe you'll be blessed with 3? Why don't you start doing the tasks and then your team will follow? You are only responsible for your attitude and your work ethic. So change your attitude with self-development and get to work. And I promise you, you will be successful in this business. We have 6 days left. 6 days left. Get your $100. Let go of what hasn't happened. Start today. And you're going to be far into August like you've never been. The time is now. The company is amazing. The products are amazing. The team is amazing. You have all of the things that you need. The only thing you don't have is you. You are the secret sauce. And all you have to do is do something. Do something every day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing and pouring in. We'll have the recording up. I'll put some scripts and tips and tricks all in the comments of the Zoom about things that I do every day for some more practical stuff. But I love you. We couldn't do this without you. Bye, guys.